The air in London's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was thick with the silent scream of a million shattered expectations. The velvet ropes were drawn. The ring canvas was pristine white under the unforgiving glare of the spotlights, and the tens of thousands of seats waited, but the sound was wrong. Instead of the building roar of anticipation, there was a deafening, metallic quiet, the sound of a multi-million-pound event collapsing into dust. In a moment that will forever be branded into the dark history of modern boxing, Conor Benn, the man who promised to finish the family business, has officially withdrawn from his highly anticipated rematch against Chris Eubank Jr., plunging the sport into chaos just hours before the opening bell. This is not mere turbulence. This is a crisis of faith in boxing, a spectacular, last-second betrayal of every fan who bought a ticket, every satellite dish pointed at the pay-per-view, and every journalist who swore this rivalry was finally ready for its definitive chapter. The news hit like a phantom left hook, flattening weeks of promotional effort, decades of history, and the fortunes of countless stakeholders. All signs pointed toward go time. The final press conference, where promoter Eddie Hearn delivered his message via silent cue cards to the mocking commentary of Eubank Jr., was a theatrical masterpiece of manufactured tension. The weigh-in, a day later, was successfully navigated, with both men hitting the agreed-upon catchweight, a technical tightrope walk made perilous by the infamous rehydration clause that defined their first encounter. Eubank Jr., the bigger man, had successfully tortured his body down to the limit, while Benn, the welterweight, had climbed 2 divisions, promising a better, more measured performance than the wild slugging that marked his defeat back in April. The table was set for a feast of generational rivalry, revenge, and redemption, but Benn walked away, taking the cutlery, the guests, and the entire restaurant with him. The specific reasoning, currently shrouded in rumor and carefully worded legal statements from Benn's team referencing a sudden, unforeseen medical development, offers little comfort. Given the shadow cast by the previous clomiphene findings that derailed the original 2022 bout, any withdrawal, no matter how framed, inevitably raises the specter of suspicion and fuels the darkest conspiracies swirling through the fighting world. Fans are left to wonder if the enormous pressure, the strain of the weight cut, the mental baggage of their tumultuous past, or something even more insidious finally cracked the granite veneer of the destroyer. The magnitude of this collapse can only be understood by grasping the historical gravity of the Eubank-Benn rivalry. This was never just a fight. It was a saga inherited from the early 1990s, when Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn defined a golden age of British boxing with their 2 brutal, iconic clashes. Their sons picked up the torch, but the fire they carried was tainted from the start. The first fight, in April, was a commercial smash and a surprising classic inside the ropes, with Eubank Jr. earning a decisive, if grueling, unanimous decision. It was a victory won not just through skill, but through the immense leverage of the weight clause, which left him hospitalized afterward. For Benn, it was the first loss of his professional career, a scar that demanded immediate removal. This rematch was meant to be his definitive answer, a chance to prove that the loss was a consequence of the adverse drug findings and the rush to fight, not a true reflection of his ability against a naturally larger man. The massive 8-figure purses promised to both fighters, a testament to the enduring power of their family names over their actual world title credentials, highlighted the sheer, obscene level of money involved, money that now evaporates, leaving behind only the cold reality of tax bills and refund obligations. Imagine the psychological wreckage in the Eubank camp. Chris Eubank Jr., a fighter known for his public stoicism and theatrical self-assurance, had endured a punishing fight week, including the draining weight cut and the emotional drama of announcing he was expecting twin boys, a blessing he framed as the biggest motivation of his life. He was ready to fight, ready to consolidate his family's dominance over the Benns and move on to world-level competition, having proved that the fire still burned. Now, he is left standing in the desert, his opponent a no-show, his preparation wasted, and the vast payday snatched away. The legal repercussions for Benn will be immediate and catastrophic, with contractual clauses almost certainly stipulating severe penalties for a late, non-injury-related withdrawal. Promoters Matchroom and the Middle Eastern backers who invested fortunes into this event are staring down a logistical and financial black hole involving millions in refunded tickets, pay-per-view buybacks, and unrecoverable production costs. This late cancellation is arguably the most damaging event to the UK boxing calendar in recent memory, surpassing even the controversy that marred their first scheduled date. The question now is not merely why Benn pulled out, but what remains of his career, and indeed, this rivalry. For Eubank Jr., this non-event is a victory by forfeit, but one that rings hollow, leaving the unfinished business tagline ironically, tragically complete. The shadow of his father's legacy, which he briefly stepped out of with his first win, now reasserts itself as the main narrative once more. For Conor Benn, his reputation, already fragile from the doping saga, is now damaged in a way that may be irreparable. How does a fighter recover from pulling the plug on the biggest fight of his life, twice, under such circumstances? The public faith is exhausted, the promoters are burned, and the generational grudge is left to fester, denied the clean ending it was promised. The boxing world reacts with a mixture of rage, disappointment, and weary resignation. We have been here before, but never with this level of last-minute, soul-crushing finality. The bell that was supposed to ring for the start of the final round of the Eubank Benn epic will now chime only for the funeral of its grand finale. This is a stark reminder that in the volatile business of combat sports, nothing is certain until the referee raises a hand. The money, the spectacle, the decades of history, all of it is subservient to the fragility of human nature, be it physical, psychological, or perhaps something darker. The silence is profound, the implications are staggering, and the future of two high-profile careers hangs precariously in the balance. To navigate the true chaos and uncover the full fallout of this boxing bombshell, you need comprehensive, instant analysis that cuts through the noise. We will be tracking the legal battles, the promoter statements, and the rage from the Eubank camp as this monumental crisis unfolds. Make sure you subscribe to Fight Shire today for our live panel breakdown, exclusive reporting on the financial devastation, and the only in-depth coverage you'll find of the most dramatic non-fight in British boxing history. Don't miss the next twist. The story is far from over, and you know we'll be there for every knockout blow, even the ones delivered outside the ring.